Your formal exercise, every gym session, every run, every workout, accounts for roughly 5% of the total calories your body burns in a day. 5%. The other 95% comes from everything else. And most men over 35 have no idea what that means for their fat loss. In this video, I'm going to show you the calorie-burning system that most men are almost completely ignoring, and why understanding it changes how you think about fat loss entirely. Here's what we're covering. First, what that 95% actually is, where it comes from, and why it drops so significantly after 35 in ways most men never notice. Second, the specific reason why an hour at the gym, 3 times a week, can be almost completely canceled out by what you do the other 165 hours. And what that means for how you approach fat loss. And third, how walking fits into all of this, not as a weight loss trick, but as the most practical way to protect the calorie burn that your body is already designed to produce and that most men are leaving completely untapped. Let's start with the number. Your body burns calories through 4 separate systems, and most men only think about one of them. The first is your basal metabolic rate, your BMR. This is the energy your body burns just to stay alive. Breathing, circulation, organ function, cell repair. You burn these calories whether you move or not. For most men, BMR accounts for roughly 60 to 70% of total daily calorie burn. The second is the thermic effect of food, the calories your body burns digesting and processing what you eat. This is roughly 8 to 10% of total daily burn. Not dramatic, but real. The third is formal exercise. Your gym sessions, your runs, your structured workouts. And here's where most men are surprised. For the average person with a typical exercise routine, formal exercise accounts for just 5% of total daily calorie burn. 5%. That's not an argument against exercise. Exercise is important for muscle preservation, metabolic health, and a dozen other reasons. But as a direct calorie-burning tool, it's a much smaller piece of the equation than most men assume, which brings us to the fourth system, the one that accounts for everything else. It's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. In plain language, it's every calorie your body burns through movement that isn't formal exercise. Walking to your car, taking the stairs, standing while on a call, shifting in your seat, carrying groceries, moving around the kitchen while you cook. All of it counts. All of it adds up. And for an active person, NEAT can account for 25 to 30% of total daily calorie burn, making it the second largest contributor after BMR, and 6 times larger than formal exercise. 6 times larger. That is the 95% most men are ignoring. But here's where it gets more complicated for men over 35 specifically. There are 2 reasons NEAT drops significantly for most men after 35. And they work together in a way that quietly dismantles fat loss progress. The first is lifestyle. Think about how much you moved in your 20s versus now. In your 20s, you might have had a more physical job, a longer commute on foot, fewer hours at a desk, more spontaneous activity. Life involved more movement, not structured exercise, just natural daily movement. By your mid-30s and 40s, most men have settled into a routine that involves sitting for the majority of the day. Desk job, lunch at the desk, car commute, home to the sofa, and repeat. The average office worker in their late 30s takes between 3,000 and 5,000 steps a day. Research suggests the threshold for meaningful fat loss support from daily movement is closer to 7,000 to 10,000 steps. That gap, 3,000 steps versus 7,000, represents hundreds of calories a day in lost calorie burn. Across a week, that's the equivalent of several gym sessions worth of energy that simply isn't being spent. But the lifestyle shift is only half the problem. The second mechanism is something researchers call adaptive thermogenesis, and it directly affects NEAT in a way most men never expect. When you reduce your calorie intake to create a deficit, your body doesn't just accept the reduced energy passively, it compensates. One of the primary ways it compensates is by reducing NEAT, your non-exercise daily movement, without you consciously realizing it. You start fidgeting less. You choose the lift instead of the stairs without thinking about it. You sit down between tasks when you'd previously have stood. You move slightly less in every small way throughout the day. None of these feel like decisions, but together, they can reduce your daily calorie burn by 200 to 300 calories, which quietly closes the calorie deficit you were trying to create through diet. This is one of the primary reasons fat loss stalls for men who are eating in a deficit but not seeing results. The deficit exists on paper, but the body has quietly reduced movement enough to close it in practice. And after 35, this adaptive response happens faster and more aggressively than it did when you were younger. So if formal exercise only accounts for 5% of calorie burn, and the body actively works to reduce NEAT when you diet, what's the most effective thing you can actually do? Walking. Walking is not a compromise. It's not the thing you do when you're too tired for a real workout. For men over 35 trying to sustain a calorie deficit, walking is one of the most strategically effective tools available. And here's exactly why. Reason 1. Walking directly targets NEAT. Unlike formal exercise, walking doesn't trigger the same adaptive compensation response. Your body doesn't reduce other movement to compensate for a walk the way it does for a gym session. When you add 3,000 to 4,000 steps to your day through short walks spread across the day rather than one formal session, those calories burn on top of your existing activity rather than replacing it. The deficit stays open. Reason 2. Walking is sustainable in a way that intense exercise often isn't. After 35, recovery slows. Intense exercise creates fatigue that often reduces overall daily movement for the 24 to 48 hours that follow. You train hard, and then you move less for the rest of that day and the next. Walking produces no meaningful recovery debt. You can do it daily, multiple times a day without it reducing your energy or movement for the hours that follow. Consistency over intensity is the principle that actually produces results at this age, and nothing is more consistent than walking. Reason 3. Walking after meals has a specific metabolic benefit. A 10 to 15-minute walk after eating significantly blunts the blood sugar spike from that meal. Less blood sugar spike means less insulin release. Less insulin means a shorter fat storage window after eating. 3 meals a day with a short walk after each one means 3 fewer insulin spikes per day. Over weeks and months, that adds up to a meaningful difference in how efficiently your body can access stored fat between meals. Reason 4. Walking reduces cortisol. Low-intensity walking, particularly outdoors, is one of the most effective activities for reducing background cortisol levels. And as we've covered in previous videos, elevated cortisol directly signals fat storage in the abdominal area. A 20 to 30-minute walk is not just burning calories while you do it. It's reducing the hormonal signal that tells your body to hold on to belly fat for hours after you finish. So how do you actually apply this? What does a walking strategy that meaningfully supports fat loss look like in practice? Here's how to actually use walking as a fat loss tool. Not as a vague suggestion, but as a structured approach. Step 1. Set a daily step target, not a walking session target. The goal is total daily steps, not one dedicated walk. This distinction matters because it keeps your NEAT spread across the day rather than concentrated in one block. Spreading movement throughout the day is more metabolically effective than the same number of steps done all at once. Start where you are. If you're currently averaging 3,000 to 4,000 steps, don't jump to 10,000 immediately. Add 1,500 to 2,000 steps per week until you reach 7,000 to 8,000 daily. That's the range research consistently shows makes a meaningful difference for fat loss in this age group. Track it. Use your phone's built-in step counter or a basic fitness band. What gets measured gets managed, and seeing the number throughout the day creates a natural motivation to keep moving. Step 2. Build 3 walking anchors into your day. A morning anchor, 10 to 15 minutes after waking, pairs with the morning routine from the previous video, depletes overnight blood sugar, improves morning insulin sensitivity, and gets early steps on the board before the day gets busy. A post-lunch anchor, 10 minutes after your midday meal. This is the single highest impact walking window for blood sugar management. A short walk here blunts the afternoon insulin spike that drives the 3 p.m. energy crash and hunger that pushes men over their calorie target. An evening anchor, 20 to 30 minutes after dinner, or in the early evening. This is your cortisol management walk, the most effective window for reducing background stress hormones and signaling your body that the day is winding down, which also supports better sleep. Step 3. Use walking to protect your deficit during dieting. When you reduce calories, your body will try to close the deficit by reducing your movement. The way to counter this is conscious step maintenance. On days when you're eating less, be more intentional about hitting your step target, not less. The steps protect the deficit that your body is trying to close. On rest days from the gym, walk. Rest days are not rest from movement. They're rest from structured exercise. Keeping steps high on rest days maintains neat burn without adding training stress. This is one of the most underused strategies for accelerating fat loss while training. If you have a desk job, set a timer for every 45 to 60 minutes and stand or walk for 5 minutes. These micro-movement breaks contribute meaningfully to daily NEAT and prevent the sharp drop in calorie burn that happens during extended sitting. So let's go back to where we started. Your formal exercise, every gym session, every structured workout, accounts for roughly 5% of the calories your body burns in a day. Now you know what the other 95% is. And now you know why walking, something most men dismiss as too easy to matter, is actually targeting the largest and most controllable portion of your daily calorie burn. Not instead of training, alongside it. The calorie deficit is still the mechanism, diet is still the foundation. But the men who find fat loss manageable after 35 are not just the ones who train hardest. They're the ones who move most consistently throughout the day, 7,000 steps. 3 walking anchors. A step target that protects the deficit your diet is creating. That's it. That's the strategy. If this video helped you understand things a bit clearer, I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. What I focus on here is simple, realistic approaches that middle-aged men can actually stick to, because that's what gets real results. If that's something you're working on, you can stick around for more.